talking about 3 steps to being the real you. We are always being faced with the idea that somebody else is influencing us and has power over us, and yet we aren't quick enough to say, no, I actually have this power. What you say about me or what you don't is not actually the thing that is driving me. So how do we embrace being the real us? Well, the first thing that we have to do is decide. Decide who is going to influence you. Decide what actions reflect the person that you want to be and the actions you're going to take. We can hand our power off to every single person in our life, or decide that nobody else actually has influence over us except for us, and to take that power and that responsibility back. Because like they say, with great power comes great responsibility. So if we're going to have this power over ourselves, we have to accept the responsibility that comes with it. If we're the ones who decide when we wake up in the morning, when we don't get out of bed, and when we sleep in until our last alarm, it is actually us who decided to do that. And maybe there is some good reasons behind it. You stayed up really late trying to finish this project, or you feel sick so you didn't want to get out of bed. There's always a reason and there's always an excuse. But that's the thing. What is that excuse that you're going to allow in your life, and which ones are you done with? Which ones have you written off for good, and are there any? Is there a way for you to establish this point in your life of a before and after of who you were and who you are now, based off of what you're going to let happen, what you're going to accept, what you're going to allow people to do, how you're going to allow people to talk to you? And you might be thinking, allow? I don't allow people to be rude to me. But if you are not removing yourself from that situation, if you are not standing up for yourself, you are allowing this behavior. If you are not preventing it, if you are not mitigating it, you are in fact accepting it. So what are you accepting in your life from other people through you not saying anything? When somebody's rude to you, or when somebody says something they shouldn't, do you say anything to them? Do you keep them back from your boundaries? Do you keep boundaries in place to make sure that people know where they can go and where they can't? And I have had to deal with this very recently. I've had multiple people at work expect grand things from me, and yet I'm like, I actually need you to reciprocate or offer some information here first. And if it's not there and I have to assume it, then this is the basis that we're going to assume it on. People are going to treat you however you allow them to treat you. And it's up to you to decide if this behavior is okay or not, and then to push back when it isn't. And if it isn't good, you need to be the one that stands up for yourself and say, you know what, enough is enough. We're all going to buy into this behavior. We're all going to put our names on this project. We're all going to decide what's going to happen next. And I'm not the only one that's going to have to take ownership over this. So how can you start to take this power back? Who is holding something over you? And the first way to really look at that is, who makes you angry with how they speak to you, or how they act towards you, or through the way they demand things from you? Who annoys you? And usually the people that we're annoyed about the most are the ones who reflect a version of ourselves that we don't like back to us. Have you ever been a person that is demanding of something, or is asking of something that you could have asked better or could have had more idea about? How are you seeing this characteristic in yourself? And that's why you're hating it in someone else. At the end of the day, everything we see in this world is a reflection back to us, how we have portrayed ourselves and what we believe we deserve. If other people treat you with respect, it is because you show up in a way that commands it. And we want to be wary of demanding things from other people. We want to command a room and not demand a room, because we want people to be aware of our presence and not be annoyed by it or intimidated by it, or feel weird about it, or talk about it after you're not there. And we've said before, it doesn't matter what other people think of you, but if the way they think about you is affecting how they're behaving towards you, then what they do think about you matters to some extent. Of course, certain people are going to think whatever they want, but based on your interactions with them, they need to be out of respect of whatever it is that you're doing. And if they aren't respecting you, it's up to you to stand up and say, no, we aren't doing this anymore. If we want to embrace this version of ourselves that is empowered and excited and moving forward and changing the world as we do it, we have to respect our own power. So we have to respect our word. We have to follow through with our promises. We have to build the trust within ourselves. So when other people disappoint us, you can't really relate or want to be around them anymore because you show up for yourselves. You keep promises for yourself. So if you are doing that for you, it will be very clear when others aren't, and you can start to put your distance between you and them. At the end of the day, for step number 2, we're going to talk about this idea that we are who we are, and some people are just not going to like it. Some people are just not going to like you, and they're going to be determined to misunderstand you at every step of the way because they've made some assumption about you, or they've made some decision that you are in this category, and it doesn't matter what you do. So you're not going to try to gain this person's favor or that person's favor who have decided that you're simply going to be the enemy no matter what happens. And there's been plenty of those people in my life, and the more I took my power back and just dismissed their tone or their behavior towards me other than the ways that I had to interact with them, it became a lot easier. If there was people in my life who treated me that way and I chose to be around them, I decided to take a step back, to put some distance between me and that person who's constantly being rude or who I have to think twice about sharing with, because I don't need to be around people that stress me out. I'm already importing different stresses in my life that I either want to or have to have around. People you hang out with, people you interact with, how much you interact with, how much power you give them, that's all up to you. And that is really what we have to keep coming back to. You don't need everyone to like you, and you don't like everyone that you interact with, but how much time are you spending thinking about them? Can you take that time back for yourself? If you are thinking about this group of friends who isn't inviting you to things anymore or who just abruptly cut you off, how can you take that energy and give it back to yourself? Imagine you had to give this person money that you didn't like every time you thought about them. Well, we're doing a lot worse with our time and our emotion and our energy. If we are handing that so freely, there's no wonder why we're so stuck in this constant noise and this constant place that we've always been in, because we keep giving everybody our power. People who don't like us, people who are determined not to, all at the end of the day fall into the same category. They're not worth your time. They're not worth your energy. Give these people as little as possible. Whether you're in person, you have to deal with them, or you don't have to deal with them. Remove yourself from situations that aren't serving you. Now, not everything is going to miraculously transform you or motivate you into the best thing you've ever been. But if they're doing the exact opposite, if they're holding you back, if they're making you feel bad, if they're constantly telling you that you're not enough, you're not good enough, this person should not be in your life. And you might be thinking, what if it's a family member? What if it's somebody that I do interact with and I have to? Limit how much space and how much information you're giving them. This person needs to know the bare minimum about you. This is a person at work who is constantly picking at you or talking about you behind your back. Only speak to them about work. You don't have to have these constant pleasantries. You don't have to ask them about their kids or how they're doing or how their weekend was. You can just talk about work and not be rude in the meantime. You can just be polite and you can be professional, but they don't deserve your friendliness past that, or your kindness, or your generosity, or your ability to talk to someone and make them feel better about themselves or have a good conversation. They don't need access to that about you or your ability to do that. Let this person exist in a minimal amount in your life as possible. Because if you want to be the real you, you have to show up in that energy and realize who deserves access to it and who doesn't. There are plenty of people who do not deserve to be around you simply because of how they've shown you that they are when you are around them. Let them go. Let them move on to another victim, to another person who's going to deal with their shit. Let them be whoever they are without you as the target. Move on. Give this as little energy as possible and just keep going. It doesn't matter what they said or didn't say or wanted to or didn't. What matters is the information that you have presented to you about them, and you're going to do what you can with it. Move on, let go, and decide that today is the last day that somebody's going to talk to you a certain way. If a few hours ago somebody was rude to you and you didn't say anything, it doesn't matter, because right now you're going to choose to not let that be your reality anymore. No one deserves access to you unless you allow it. They certainly don't deserve access to your sweetness and your kindness and your generosity without them giving you anything in return. If somebody is not handing that to you, you do not need to hand it to them. This reciprocity needs to exist. Otherwise, you are constantly giving, and you can't be who you are because you're too tired. You don't have enough energy to talk to people, to have fun with people, to go and meet new people, to interact with others. And when you do meet new people, don't give them too much. You can have a conversation and be nice, but let them be the ones to drive the conversation at some point. Stop asking the questions. Give them as much information as they're giving you. If you're asking all these elaborate questions and they're only talking about themselves, see if they ever ask a question back. Now, there's definitely ways to play this game at work, but if this is a person that you're trying to see if they're going to integrate into your life, see if they have any interest in it. The first time you meet someone, everything is unknown, so there should be plenty of questions and plenty of interest. And if neither of those exist, you need to move on. We have to start accepting how people are behaving as who they are. People usually are showing their best foot forward at the beginning. So if this person is not giving you that best foot forward, then you need to move on. Because it's not going to get any better. They're not going to suddenly be asking you a million questions and being there for you and showing up for you if that's not something where it started off with. And think about your friends who you've been with for a long time. Have they ever shown that much interest? Do they ask you questions? Are they there for you when you need something, or are they only there when they need something? Go back to the beginning. See how it was then. How is it different now? Are they just more of the same now? And the answer is probably that they are. And that's okay if up until now you didn't look at it, but decide now. Decide what it's going to look like today. Now, the third thing that we have to accept in this being us story is that our story is actually unwritten. Our story hasn't been defined yet. Our story is not final. Every choice we make is unraveling the next page, unraveling the next sentence, the next chapter, and each decision is a building block to the next. So when we want to become the real us, our story is moving in one direction. There is no redos, there is no cut, take two. It is one take, and that's all we get. We have to learn in real time. We have to adjust and move on. We have to be the ones fully aware that the story is written by us and only by us. Everyone else is a minor character in the story of our life. That doesn't mean minor characters are pushed aside and not mentioned at all, because people win awards for being the best supporting actor, and there's going to be supporting actors who do deserve awards in your life, but you have to figure out what part they're playing in your life, in your play, and how are they filling that role. And sometimes actors can only get certain parts of a role. Sometimes they have to switch the actor halfway through the movie because this person just isn't the right fit anymore. And because you can't go back and edit those scenes, edit those stories in your life, edit those chapters, you can move forward with different actors. You can move on with different characters. It would be very boring if every single movie and every single show had all of the same people, in the same storylines, in the same landscapes, in the same backdrops. It would be very boring. So how are you filling the story with beautiful colors and people and choices and lessons and emotion that is moving the plot forward? Do not let people tell you that the plot is over, that the story is finished, until you have put the pen down. You get to decide when the next chapter begins, when the last chapter ends, when this new character's story has come to an end. and you get to decide when new characters are introduced, and when those characters don't really work out, you can pan them out of your story. You are editing in real time the life that you want and creating it. The story is unwritten and you are the writer. You get to build these characters, you get to build this storyline, you get to build these relationships, and you get to become who you are each and every moment of every day. It does not matter what happened yesterday. And you might be thinking, well, in a story, it does matter what happens in the last chapter. And that's the great thing about this chapter, is of course the previous chapters will influence this one, but the ability of this chapter to grow is not dependent on how much character growth was in the last chapter. Because in this chapter, you get to grow as much as you want. You can pour your time and your heart into learning, into meeting people, into exploring the world, and that will be that character's development. So write the story with intention. Pick out which colors you want to wear. Pick out the clothes that embody you in this moment. And in 15 years from now, in 5 years, in 15 minutes, that might all be different, but you get to pick each step along the way. You can pick the shoes and the hair color and all of the in-between. You can pick the people you want to play in your life. You can pick the food, the clothes, the job, the landscape, the countries, the travel, the people, the lovers, the enemies. Who are your enemies? Who is the villain in your story? And how are they shaping your character? How are you allowing these bad influences, these people who hurt you, to affect you? We always see in movies people being affected by the negative characters pretty significantly. And unless we take a step back and realize how much these negative influences are changing our personality and give them credit that that is what they're doing and remove them, they're going to keep doing it. Just because you don't acknowledge that something exists doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's better to be aware of your surroundings and who you're being and who you're with than to just let life pass you by and you be a minor character in your own story. There's so many people in this world who aren't going to meet you. I hope that you aren't one of them. I hope you got something out of today's video. We're going to continue this journey and we're going to wrap it up very soon on a very special note. But until then, I hope to see you soon and hope you have an amazing week.